Many of you are in tune with your body. So much so that you can feel things in a way that many around you can't. So you have a heightened awareness. Your awareness has heightened over time even. Because you could have always known that you had something, but maybe you didn't know what it was all the for the entire time, like from the beginning. Okay? I find that you like this about yourself. You like that you're this way. I heard you're grateful. You're grateful for your intuitive nature. You being in tune with yourself actually allows you to be in tune with other people. So you tend to bury. What? You tend to bury. I didn't mean to say bury. But you tend to, maybe you do tend to bury something. Maybe I'll touch back on that. But you tend to be able to see what others are going through from just observing their emotions or just being in close proximity. This is giving a superpower. I feel like to be so empathic. I feel like that's a superpower because many people, they just be walking around and don't know what's going on, even though they're around people, but they can't pick up on people's energy. And I feel like that could be a downfall in many different ways, because if you can't pick up on people's energy, then it's likely that you won't really know if it's time to leave. Sometimes, well, I can't even say sometimes, I feel like most times intuition saves people, literally. Intuition will come through, and it's like it'll come through and activate when you least expect it, but it's like your body is telling you no, or don't do that, or spirit is speaking through you, informing you that there's another way, or that you just shouldn't take the route that you're thinking of taking. And then that's just your awareness. Your awareness has enhanced very much over the past few years. And I feel like you notice that your abilities are becoming stronger. They're strengthening, basically. And I do believe that the more you believe that you do have your abilities, the stronger they'll get. Because if you don't believe that you have any ability to do much of anything, you won't do it. You won't do it because you don't even think it's there anyway. So you're not going to nurture it. You're not going to pay any attention. It's just going to be thrown by the wayside. But for those who actually know that they do have a very strong intuition, awareness, your intuitive nature is at its peak from your younger years to now. Not saying that, I heard the peak, not saying that the peak can't rise. So not saying that this is end all be all, but basically saying that you're at the most enhanced version of yourself in this lifetime for many of you. But it doesn't mean that you can't be greater, that you can't get better. I feel like everyone can always get better. I feel like there's always room for improvement. I don't feel like you should be really hard on yourself, though. I always struggle with that because I was always really hard on myself. So I've learned not to be that way and to relax and give myself some grace. Because I'm a Leo Virgo cusp. So that Virgo could catch me up sometime. So I had to learn how to use who I am to benefit me as opposed to affect me. And one thing that just came to mind is, it's funny how years ago and throughout my process of growth, spiritual growth, and just growth in general, personal growth, I began to see things within myself along the way, and I started to change them because I knew they weren't good for me. And I knew I can do better in certain areas. So that's what I began to do. I began to work on the areas that I saw within myself, because I was being real with myself. And I encourage you all to do that same thing. I was being real with myself, and I said, look, that's not working, so we got to fix that. We could tweak that a little bit. I did that to myself. And so now the areas that I saw were weak in me, I've strengthened now. And when I looked at my birth chart, all of the areas that I strengthened are my weaknesses in my birth chart. And I found that very interesting. And it actually made me very proud of myself, because I was able to see certain things about myself and tackle the problem instead of complaining about it or acting as if I don't have control of my own circumstances and my own behavior and my own mindset. So when you are able to do that, you don't have to go through the trouble of having to hear other people tell you things about yourself when most of the time you're not even sure if it's coming from a good place or not. Like you don't know until you know. There's certain people that'll tell you about yourself, but they love you, so they're trying to help you. But then there's other people that, you know, they don't mean well. So it's like, don't tell me anything about me, because you know you don't really care for me. So don't even try to come over here with that. So you have those people. But when you can be responsible enough to look at yourself and say, you know what, I can improve in that area, so I'm going to start to work on that. You know, I feel weak in that area, because we're not going to be perfectionists at everything, but we could do our best, right? And I think this is what Spirit wants to focus on, allowing you to know that you're okay. Don't feel like you're not doing enough. Don't feel like you have to amount up to someone else. Never use someone else as your measurement. Don't measure up to anyone else but who you were before. Only measure up to yourself. If you want to be better than you were before, do that. But don't put a measure to you and someone else, because that's not realistic. You know, we are all born at different times, and we're aligned in the stars in different times. So there's certain life paths that we all have to go through to understand ourselves. And everyone's life path is not going to be the same. And everyone's mission is not the same. Everyone's temperament is not the same. You know, and that's something else that I keep in mind when I speak to you all. And, but what I do share with you, what I share with you is like universal. It can help everybody. You know, I know that. I know that what I share is helpful because it's practical and it's realistic. Because these are situations that really happen in life, and I know that they can be helpful. So it doesn't matter what I share with you. It doesn't matter, you know, how you're aligned in the stars, really, because these messages can still apply if you're willing to receive them. You see? So don't be so hard on yourself. Just do the work on yourself and stay active when it comes to you getting closer to yourself and feeling comfortable within oneself and loving yourself. And do not compare, because the comparison doesn't make sense when you really think about it. How does you comparing yourself to someone else make sense when there's so many different factors that make the two of you so different? So to compare yourself to someone else is detrimental to your ability to believe in oneself. When you compare yourself to yourself, it's easier for you to see your progress. You know, because you can easily measure your progress to see, where was I, like, what was I doing 5 years ago? And you think about what you were doing then, and then you think about what you're doing now, and you can clearly see the difference as to your improvement. It's like when people compare, that's like a false measurement. It doesn't make sense to compare in such a way. Okay? So refrain from that if that's something that you find yourself doing. Give yourself grace. I think that we don't give ourselves enough grace, and many of you, maybe not all of you, because I'm not going to say it's everyone, but I know that when things happen that could take a toll on your heart, things that take a toll on your heart space is hard to snap back from. It takes an extended period of time because it hits your emotions. And when your emotions are targeted, that can cause you to lose control really quick if you don't know how to balance yourself out and be at that 0 point energy. You will not be able to withstand the most tiniest insignificant situations. You know, I have a family member, and this family member has gone through a lot in their life, and she's younger, in her early 20s, and she was a young mother, or she still is a young mother, but she had to call the doctor to make an appointment for her child, and this is years ago now. But I was with her after she had her baby, and when she went to call the doctor, she was placed on hold, but the whole time was like an hour long. She got so frustrated with waiting that she began to cry. And when I realized how fragile she was, I was actually surprised because, see, someone like me, I'll just put the phone down, put it on speaker, and start doing something in my area, cleaning up, doing something. You know, what's that called? They say killing two birds with one stone. I would just do that. I would just, look, put the phone on speaker and, you know, have a conversation with somebody. Do something else until you hear the person say, hello, how can I help you? Then you pick up the phone. See, in my mind, that's how I'm looking at it. But for her, it wasn't the same. And I was a bit confused when I first realized that she was that frustrated. And I tried to calm her down, but it was to the point I was like, oh, just hang up. Call back early in the morning. Maybe they'll answer faster, because the emotions, I think there was much more behind the tears than just the call. And the patience was not there. It was not there at all. There was no patience. So when you have a buildup of problems in the background, and maybe even in the forefront as well, and you have to do simple tasks, they can become overwhelming because you're not able to balance your emotions. It's like, it makes me think about a tsunami because I see water on my screen. I see waves on my screen, and they're big waves. It's making me think about a tsunami because when a tsunami hit, nobody's stopping a tsunami. It's going to come through and it's going to pluck everything up. And then when it wants to settle down, it'll settle down, and everything around will be destroyed. And I feel as though our emotions are so powerful that they can cause a tsunami in our life. Right? And everything could be upside down, and we can't do the simple errands and activities that we should be able to do naturally without any problems. But when you are going through a lot and you have trouble with your emotions, the smallest things you have trouble doing. So Spirit wants you to practice being centered and grounded so that you can actually think. You can't think when you're like that. You just can't. How could you think straight? It's too difficult. And you'll just feel so frazzled, you know. Well, should I tell them now? I'm writing another book. It came to mind, so I'm just going to say it. I'm like 25% through it. So I still have 75% to go. You know, that's cool. But when it's ready, I'm going to tell you. I'm planning to drop it on the 8th, as I did the first book, you know, which I'll put right here if I don't forget, because I mentioned my book in the last video and forgot to put the little pop-up advertisement right here. But you guys know you can go to my website, www.MNHONEYROSE.org, and you can purchase the ebook there. But yeah, so look out for my next book, because it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And purchase the book that I just wrote, because it has some good stuff in there. There's like gems and jewels and treasures for you to find. And then you can use them in your own life. Isn't that fantastically amazing? I know, right? But yeah, I just want you guys to feel good about life and actually love living. Because life is worth living. It's worth loving. By the way, I vote for the Creator as president. Yes, I do. Anybody else vote for the Creator? Yes? Okay? I just wanted to say that. God is the president. Okay? So whatever that, to hell with everything else. But what else do I want to say about this here? There's magic inside of you that needs to be released, and it cannot be released if you don't give yourself grace. Give yourself some grace. Thank yourself sometime. Thank yourself. Okay? Thank yourself. If you did something that you feel like was a good thing, like, thank you, self. Did a good job. You did a good job. Tell yourself thank you. Okay? I know it's nice to hear from somebody else, but still, it's a good practice because it's self-love. That's loving yourself. And it makes you feel good. It makes you smile because you recognize what you've done. You recognize what you've done because every little step you take, it makes a big difference in your life and possibly in the lives of others. Like friends, family, and even people that you don't know. If you're someone who provides some type of service, right? I just heard hairstylist. Somebody's like into cosmetology. So you make people feel good on a daily basis by getting them all dolled up. All dolled up. Yes, all dolled up. And I heard people love you. You make people feel good about themselves. That's self-care. So you're in the business of self-care. Self-care is like there's so many different aspects of self-care. And that's a good thing, that there's different aspects of self-care. Like listening to your needs, your own needs, and acknowledging them. Because we can know what we need and not verbalize it. And you know that you need whatever it is that you need because it makes you feel balanced. It makes you feel safe. It makes you feel secure. No one wants to be in any type of, or under any type of circumstances that makes them feel like they're not safe. So, I just heard when you become a safe space for yourself, you automatically end up sharing your safe space with those who encounter your presence, because that is automatically who you are. So people who are graced with your presence will also be graced with a safe space. All spaces are not safe. Okay. Because I say that because so many people are very judgmental and they're quick to point the finger at other people but never look at themselves, never see anything wrong with themselves. And I feel like that's weak. It's a weak way to be because most of the time people like that, everything that they say about people is for laughs and giggles, or it's not to encourage someone to do better or help someone to see life differently. It's not helpful. And if it's not helpful, a lot of talk that's not helpful, it becomes gossip. And what does that really do for anybody? It does nothing, I heard it corrodes. It corrodes. And I said it, and then I heard it causes rust. It causes rust. It feels like Spirit is saying gossip prevents people from actually learning and receiving and retaining good information because they're so focused on information that they feel is entertaining that they don't leave any space for edification. Now I'm hearing if you want to take a look to just see what's going on, hey, to each his own, you know, because sometimes you still just want to see something different at times. But if you're doing that like every day, it could take a toll on you. It could even take a toll on your emotions as well. It's because of what you're feeding your mind. If you feed your mind good things, then you will receive and retain good information that could be helpful to you. Yeah, gossip is not helpful. So Spirit wants to touch base on that part, so we did that. And what else are we talking about? I'm gonna get a charm because I often forget to get a charm, so I'm gonna get a charm now while I think about it. It's a starfish, and I see water on my screen. I have a starfish. I always think about how a starfish can regenerate if any of the arms are severed. See the starfish? Some of you might like the beach. Water's peaceful. Maybe some of you like waterfalls, or you want to travel to a waterfall. I just heard Costa Rica. Maybe someone is from Costa Rica or would like to go there. I would like to go to Costa Rica. So beautiful. But many of you find peace around the water. Spiritual bath. I just heard spiritual bath. So it would be a good idea for you to take a spiritual bath for spiritual, I heard healing. Like it feels like it's self-care. And add oils, I'm hearing, that you like. Aroma, the aroma that you like. Add it into the bath. Aromas that trigger relaxation. I heard lavender and vanilla. Oh, that sounds good. And now I'm hearing chamomile. Chamomile tea is very relaxing. A star just fell out. A black star. I heard black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Elegant. It looks so elegant, right? Black and gold, and yeah, black and gold looks very elegant to me. I always like those colors together. It just looks, it looks clean. I think like the gold or the yellow, it just pops. It's real poppy, like pop, you know? Maybe someone's going to get invited to something fancy where you will dress to impress. Oh, and you're going to be happy there. I was just twiddling this in my finger, but I didn't know that I took it. I mean, I didn't know what it was. It says happy. Heart chakra, solar plexus, sacral root, and throat So the two P's are like not in alignment. So maybe some of you need to work on your solar plexus and your heart chakra, because they're not in alignment from that happy that I just saw. So the solar plexus and the heart chakra is what the majority of you need to work on, because it will help you to feel more balanced. Many of you have trouble with the topic of love. And love actually heals all wounds. So you have to work on that love. Just start loving you. Start with you. Okay, start with you. Start with loving the relationship that you have with the Creator. You know, start with you and the Creator. If you start with you and the Creator, you can't go wrong when it comes to healing any troubles that you have within you that involve love in your heart. Once you get your heart right, I feel as though the soul, it gets right, because your heart, I feel like, is it's your auric field exudes from your heart chakra. So it's like it will heal your, it's like a locked door. It will open a locked door so that you can actually see more of self. You can see more of what's inside of your darkness once your heart is level. Because if your heart is all over the place, how could you even be strong enough to go into your darkness? Your heart has to be strong. You have to strengthen your heart. If you really want to heal and you don't want to be walking around feeling crazy all the time and just feeling like you can't snap back from all of the wrong that was done to you, then you're going to continue to live a really difficult life, and it's going to be your fault. But if you choose to stop thinking that way and rewrite your own story because you have the pen, then your life is going to improve. But you have to take that and accept it and do that work on yourself. It's only difficult if you make it difficult. Okay? Yeah. That's what they said. When I say that, I'm talking about spirit, because they be talking through me. Alright? Yeah. That's my saying. 'Cause what they say? Anyway, everything you do it with love. Always remember the Creators in you, and the magic is too, because you are magic. Much love to you. I'll see you in the next video.